So, as many of you know, there's a lot of news recently about Xbox, and not all of it is positive. And I chose not to cover one story in particular, which was basically kind of talking about how Xbox was, disappointed with the Activision acquisition and how things were going there, and they actually ended up losing people to PlayStation when they actually expected to gain 5% of PlayStation's user base with the Activision buyout. Now, they responded to the rumors and said that it needed context and things like that. Not exactly an outright denial per se, but, again, they're saying, hey, we're not really upset with this. I mean, that's pretty much as rebuttal as you can get. Now, the interesting thing with that is there's always stuff going on, and there's always going to be ways to remind us that, things are going decently well. Like Microsoft probably has run some numbers, and they probably have a good idea of, where things are going to go, and where things are headed, or at least they have an idea of where they think things are headed. That's always kind of been Microsoft's problems a little bit. And when you're a tech company, sometimes that happens. I just wish that they would let the gamers run the gaming part of it instead of letting the bureaucracy and the business people and the suits run it, because I do 100% feel like you didn't need to you didn't really need to have give up all your exclusives. You have to have that. I'm sorry, no matter what, I don't care how big of an Xbox fan I am, I'm never going to say you don't need exclusive games. So that's probably the thing that I can kind of stress the most. But there are some good bits of news that they kind of lent out as well. So I'm going to get into that. Hey, I'm Crap Gamer, and this is Crap Gamer Reviews with another video. Please like the video, share it out, and maybe consider subscribing. I do daily gaming content, and I try to be fun yet informative. So keep that in mind as we go forward. It's always appreciative when you guys kind of like the videos and stuff like that. So Xbox reminded us that engagement is at an all-time high going into this year, which is really good. So earlier in the week, Microsoft reached out and seemingly other outlets aiming to provide some context about a report headlined Microsoft's gaming business falls short despite Activision by an outlet known as, quote, The Information. Now, honestly, we haven't seen that report in full. It's locked behind a $300 paywall, mind you. So, a lot of people come across snippets that have been posted elsewhere, such as a suggestion that CEO Satya Nadella was considering winding down Xbox entirely back in 2021. Although there were some, just reading the little snippets that we saw about that is weird, because they had bought ZeniMax in 2020, although it didn't go through until 2021. But according to the article, originally anyway, it was like, back in 2021, they had, they could either go all in and, buy these publishers and studios, or they could, wind it down entirely, which doesn't make sense since they bought ZeniMax before, before this point. So again, take it for what it's worth, if that's something that is, real or not. Now, the original story was, Microsoft's follow-up comments, to this is a little bit different. An update added to this as well. I'm going to link it so you guys can check it out. Satya Nadella's mentioned from back in June 2021 what the company is all in on gaming was referenced, among other things. Beyond that, though, the focus was on present day. The most interesting stat for people anyway is the engagement as at an all-time high as we enter 2025, Xbox, PC, and mobile, with the company having 500 million monthly active users. Now, again, I want to keep this kind of as real as possible. So it does sound good. And I remember talking about this back when Microsoft was buying Activision. I was like, they're going to say they have 500 million users once this is done. And from a technical standpoint, that'll be true. But I just want to point out that, the majority of these were already Activision users that they were reporting before Microsoft bought them. So it's not like these are actual Xbox users. A lot of these, in fact, probably more than half of these are people that are playing King games like Candy Crush. So keep that in mind. But it's still good engagement for, Microsoft. It means that, if everything's kind of has its place or whatever. So Game Pass received a boost from the addition of Black Ops 6. The game's launch marked the best day ever for the service and set a record for number of subscriptions on release day. And what Satya Nadella said about that is, and I quote, "We set new records for monthly active users in the quarters as more players than ever play our games across devices and on the Xbox platform. Game Pass also set a new quarter one record for total revenue and average revenue per subscriber. And as we look ahead, our IP across our studios has never been stronger. We launched Black Ops 6 and it was the biggest Call of Duty release ever, setting a record for day one players as well as Game Pass subscriber adds on launch day." So again, like, these things are all nice and it sounds good, but it's very much like a lawyer speak, and that's like what I kind of like to point out, because if you kind of break into this, it's really weird the way that they say it, because yeah, more players than ever, but that doesn't necessarily mean more sales, and it doesn't necessarily mean that they made more money than what they would ever make. You know what I mean? And what was the previous record for Game Pass subscribers on launch day? They hadn't really had a big game that launched that I could see. I mean, Halo, I guess, but that was a free-to-play multiplayer. So what did they really have that would draw people? I mean, Starfield, I guess, but they never even mentioned what it did. But anyway, Microsoft's come out swinging a little bit with some of these interesting facts. It's nice to see that they come out and respond to some of the negative rumors, but it does make you realize that the ones that they don't respond to are likely true. We do have the next earnings release coming out on the 29th of this month, where we should learn more about how Indiana Jones and the Great Circle and Stalker 2. And maybe even Flight Simulator have affected Game Pass in recent months, as well as console sales for the Xbox itself, which will probably be down yet again. So again, like, I don't look at Stalker 2 or Flight Simulator or even Indiana Jones, which was great, to really bring a lot of people into Game Pass. I don't know. It's just like, those games aren't big. Like, there's very few games that I think could really like break the bank, and I think that that's probably the thing that a lot of people don't realize is that when we look at these games and we go, okay, well, what can change and what has happened, what can really lead to an influx of gamers? And I think that realistically, there's very few stuff that can do that. I mean, like, something like GTA might be able to do that, but there's no chance in hell that they could get GTA on the service. Just the stuff that they have, I don't think is like, even the stuff that I like Fable, that's not going to break the bank or get millions of people to subscribe to Game Pass. Perfect Dark, nope. South of Midnight, nope. You know what I mean? Like, I guess if you had stuff like Doom and that was exclusive, then maybe, I guess it could have helped somewhat, but it's like they really kind of shot themselves in the foot by not having, a lot of this stuff exclusive, because I think they could sell Xboxes, they could sell subscriptions, they could be just much better off if they actually do this, so we'll see how that kind of works out. Again, I do feel like they have the content to really get everybody out there and do some really cool things, but I think a lot of this will come down to how the fans react to what they're trying to do and what they're trying to accomplish. It's like some things that that Microsoft has up their sleeves looks really good. It sounds really good, right? Like, okay, having an Xbox handheld, cool. And then you realize that there's certain leaks that they're supporting the Switch 2 more than any other company. And they're probably supporting it with their first party stuff like Halo, Gears of War, Forza. They're probably supporting it with literally everything. So, again, where does that leave the Xbox handheld down the road? If you can get all the Switch games and all the Xbox games on a Switch, why would you want the Xbox one? Like, it's like they shoot themselves in the foot. I mean, I'm sure there would be somewhat of an audience there. Maybe somebody, they could take their entire library with them or whatever, but it does hurt the potential of more sales in the future and things like that. So we'll have to see how that happens. And what happens in the future, but at the end of the day, it really kind of comes down to all this stuff. You know what I mean? So we'll see what Microsoft can do to maybe change their fortunes around. Like I said, I think that where we're at with this right now is an interesting time. They do mention, hey, we have the most console players we've ever had, and I've mentioned before that, yeah, on a technicality level, because of the number of Xbox One and Series X and S users, yeah, combined for sure. But that doesn't mean that Series X and S have done anything spectacular. So, with that being said, I will link this. You guys can check it out. Thanks for watching. Crap Gamer out.